good morning or good afternoon, technically. Thanks for showing up. This video is going to go out to everybody because I'm excited about this. So one of the things that, let me back up by telling you the story about White Line and how I got started. It was Eric and I that started it. And what really happened was, Eric was a broker at the time. I went out and got my real estate license because I got real tired of dealing with realtors. We were doing a lot of investing back then. And as I'm sure you know, you just need a lot of data to be a good investor. So calling people for comps or trying to get rental rates or anything like that, it was just a hassle because all they're trying to do is get me set up on a search. Can I get you set up on a search? Can I get you set up on a search? I'm like, I don't want to be on a search. I just want to know what the rental rates are in this area or whatever. So whenever you're trying to get information, they also became very difficult to work with because, pulling comps for somebody doesn't really pay a lot. So I went out and got my license because I got tired of dealing with it. Most of them didn't understand what we were trying to achieve. And it really bothered me quite a bit. So I got licensed, hung my license underneath Eric, got to talking to a few people, and they knew that both Eric and I were investors. And so we slowly started picking up a handful of people that were also investors that had their license. It was mostly just people like Hillary, people that we've known for a long time. And then one day we decided to take it to the next level, and which we've done. I think we're at 83, 92, either 89, 93, something like that, agents right now, all throughout the state of Texas. And some people are here because, hey, we're cheap, we're easy to work with, they like the culture. I love that. You're welcome here. Keep doing what you're doing. But the original premise of White Line was to be an investor-friendly brokerage. That was the whole design of this. And I decided now to take it to kind of the next level. So as you can see in one of these screens, you can see some of the guys in this room. The guys in this room, and there's some females too, I don't know where they're at today, but we're calling this group the syndicate. And syndicate means to work together to get a specific outcome. And I want to invite all of you to help out regardless of where you are. So what the syndicate is doing is we are basically a white glove concierge service for investors. We are contacting and speaking to active investors that are looking in San Antonio. Right now, the vast majority of them are out of state investors, and they need boots on the ground and they need somebody that knows what they're talking about. So everybody in this room, every day we get together, we analyze properties, we estimate rehabs, we run comps, we run them all the way through the entire simulation to find out if it would make a good BRRR, if it'd make a good flip, or if it would make a good whatever it might be. That's what we are helping these guys do. So instead of just setting up when an investor calls and says, hey, I like to flip a property, and we don't ask questions like, how many bedrooms do you want? How many bathrooms? Do you want a pool? Do you not want a pool? And then set them up on an MLS search. Because as you know, if you get set up on an MLS search, I'd say probably 90% of the houses in that search are going to be completed projects that are trying to get the actual market value for it. Which if a house is worth 200 and you're trying to sell it for 200 and you buy that to flip, you're not a very smart flipper. So what we need help with, and why I wanted to have this quick little meeting and share with everybody, and we're going to do more training on this as we go along, is we are trying to get everybody in this brokerage paid. That's right. All 90 of you, I want y'all to get a paycheck from this effort. What this is going to be is we need help finding properties. Now, we've got Rudy and Zagla on here right now, and I know that they do a lot of wholesaling, which great for them. If you're doing wholesaling and you need help moving the property, that's where we're going to come in and be very helpful with. The other thing that I really want to invite people to do is start searching the MLS. Searching the MLS for properties that you can get into, that make sense for investors. I'm going to send out an email later. We've already set up a web form where you can go in and submit that property saying, hey, Colin, take a look at this one. Here's the details on it. I think this is a good investment property. When you go to that sheet and you input that information on that property, it's going to ask you for your name. So we're going to know who the home source is for this, who found it and who sent it into us. And that's going to be very important because I am going to be paying people based on that. If you find us the property and say, Colin, this is a good deal, I don't care if it's a pocket listing. I don't care if it's in the MLS. I don't care if some wholesaler had it and they can't seem to get rid of it and you got a hold of it and you think it's a good deal. However that property, you get it, if you send it into the syndicate, you're going to get paid on it. And it's going to be the first person that gets it, because I know a lot of y'all might be on wholesalers list. Whoever the first one is to submit it, That'll be the person that gets paid. Now, very quickly, what are we paying on it? Guys, it's a new group. I think I've got my math figured out. We haven't shaken the whole thing down yet, but whoever the home source is, whoever submits the property will get paid 15% of the commission. Whoever submits the property will get paid 15% of the commission. For example, you find a $200,000 house that's actually worth 300. We purchase the house for 200 and we get a 3% commission on it. You're going to get 15% of $6,000, which I think comes out to $960 if my math is right. I don't know. I did that in my head. So basically, if you can find a $200,000 house, submit it into the syndicate, as soon as we get that sold, you are going to make $960 on that transaction. And all you had to do was sit at your home and pound it out and get it together. If you would like to come join the syndicate, you are welcome to. We meet from 10 to 12. Consistency is important with this group. Guys, if you are not here, like I don't require anybody to be here every day because I understand things happen. You may have a showing, you may have this. Most of the people are gone today because they had showings. They had David just left because he had a showing. So I get that we're realtors and our time's weird, and I understand that. But if you want to get up here most days between 10 and 12, we're handing out leads that come from bigger pockets, come from roof stock, other things that we're doing. We've got field trips planned, which is lots of fun. I think our next purchase for White Line is going to be a big black bus. And we're just going to go, maybe a short bus. And we're going to go running around taking a look at property. So that's what we're doing today. White Line is now doing a lot of internal marketing, trying to find these properties to sell to investors. My goal with this project is for us to become the premier investment brokerage. When somebody thinks about buying an investment property in San Antonio, I want them buying it from White Line Realty, because we've done a lot of work over the past 2 months with the syndicate group, learning how to present these offers, learning how to calculate the numbers. You don't have to worry about any of that. You just have to figure out one thing and submit the property. So what's the one thing that we got to figure out? I'm going to do this in 10 minutes or less. So it should be, actually, I probably can do it in 5. The key to a good investment property, guys, is making sure you can make money. Okay. You've got to buy low, sell high. We've all seen Wolf of Wall Street. Okay. That's what we have to do on these things. So how do we buy low? How do we sell high? Well, there's a couple different things. The first thing is you can find a property that is distressed. Either they are going into foreclosure, it's a probate sale, and somebody got the house that doesn't want it. The house is falling apart. There's severe issues with it. They have to move because of an emergency. They're getting divorced. They're getting PCS'd if they're in the military, something like that. We need to find a reason that they are willing to sell the house at a discount. That is the most important part of it. Nobody's going to sell, like we've been trying. Lennar's not going to sell me their house at 75% of value. They're just not. It's a brand new house. As you're going through MLS listings, if you're clicking through the pictures and you go, oh my God, this house is cute, probably not a good investment property. Okay. You want to find something that needs some work, or they're in an extreme hurry for outside circumstances, whatever it might be. The next thing that you have to do whenever you are analyzing an investment property is you need to figure out what the ARV is. Okay. What is the ARV? Anybody in this room? What's ARV? After repair value. What is that house actually worth? Okay. If you see a house where the kitchen caught fire and they left the fire damage and they threw it in the MLS, that's a pretty good one. They're probably selling that house at a discount, but you need to figure out how much of a discount is it. So very simply put, run some comps in the area. We're going to show you how to do these later. Find out how much that property should sell for. Okay. That's the after repair. Once I fix everything up, once I modernize it, once I take away the, baby shit green shag carpet and all of that stuff, what would this house be worth? So when you're calculating an ARV, you want to look at houses that are modernized, that are completely finished, that look sharp, and you're going to figure out what the ARV is. Guys, you should be doing this with every listing that you have. You can run a comparable market analysis. You can do it just kind of on the back of a napkin, because we're going to double check the math for you, but I don't want you wasting our time. So don't just guess a number, kind of take a look at some of the solds. For those of y'all that don't remember, 6 months worth of sales is what we're kind of looking at. If we can keep it there, similar size, similar bedroom, bathroom count, similar construction, meaning If you got that one house that, like, we were just looking at a house in Corpus, the house was almost 4,000 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 4 baths. Every house around it was a 3-2 and like 1,800 square feet. That's a hard one to comp. So you got to make sure you're finding other houses that are 4,000 square feet that have 6 bedroom, or maybe not 6, but something on the larger side. So run your comps, find out what your ARV is. Typically, the magic number that we are looking at is 75% of that ARV. Okay, so for simple math, guys, if we find a house and we're like, oh my God, this is a cute little house and it needs some work. First question you need to ask yourself is, what is my ARV? We do the math, we look at it and you go, hey, fixed up, this house should be around $200,000. Okay, so if our ARV is 200, does anybody want to do the math on what 75% of 200 is? It's 150,000 for those of y'all bad at math. So as an investor, this 75% means a lot. Usually they want 25% equity in the house that you don't live in. So it helps a lot with refinance if you're trying to get a rental property. If you're going to flip this house, this 25% gap is usually your profit. Okay. So that's how much people like to make. Almost every investor wants a minimum of 75% purchase price of the after repair value. If you can get this number lower, if I can buy a house at 50% of ARV or 40% of ARV, that's a better deal. But honestly, most of them right now are kind of between 70 and 75%. Most people are aware of what they have. That's what we're trying to get to. And 75% is the maximum purchase price. So we want to buy this house at $150,000. But it's got to be worth 200 when I'm done fixing it up. Now, here's the problem, guys. If this house needs $50,000 worth of repair, I'm not going to buy it for 150, because then I put 50 into it. I've spent $200,000 and then I'm going to sell it for $200,000. I'm going to lose money on commissions, closing costs, fees, all that crap. Doesn't make any sense. I want to be all in at that $150,000. So if I think the property needs $50,000 worth of repairs, I'm going to subtract that from my maximum. This is called an MAO. MAO is maximum allowable offer. But if it needs repairs, then I'm going to subtract those repairs. So say it needs $50,000. This 100 grand is what I want to buy the house at. That is where I want to purchase it. Okay. Couple questions. Colin, I see this house. It needs 50,000 worth of repair. I think it's worth 200. But they're asking 120. That doesn't make the math work. You're right. All it takes is a phone call, guys. We've done it a lot here in this group. They've all heard me do it. It's not a hard thing to do. Pick up the phone, call the realtor, go, hey, White Line Realty here. We work with a lot of investors. I really like your house, but I'm going to tell you, I don't think anybody's going to buy it at 120. Do you think your sellers would be open to an offer at $100,000? And they'll say yes or no. Send me the paper. No, they're really stuck on it, whatever it might be. But that one phone call, I mean, what was the, I think I got somebody $40,000 down just by calling the realtor. Hey, could they take this? Well, I know they'll go this low. Oh, okay, perfect. If you find a deal that fits this thing, you're going to be getting a link from me later. I'm not going to do it here because I don't have it readily available. You're going to have a link where you're going to go put it in. Hey, Colin, found this in the MLS. MLS number 1234. Here's the address. Here's what I think the ARV is. Here's what I think the repairs are. You're going to put all that information in and you're going to submit it to us. Once we get that submission, we're going to rerun it, make sure it makes sense. And then if it makes sense, we're going to sell it for you. Once we sell it, you get paid. Simple as that. Now, there's one more hard thing to do, especially with the new people, is how do I know how much rehab this is going to take? Honestly, that's the hardest part of this gig, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. There's two ways to kind of hip shot this. The first way, which I like to do, but Jessica was here, she's a general contractor, and her and I we end up at the same number, but we do it two different ways. The first way I like to do it is if the house doesn't have anything massively wrong with it. It's just ugly, right? We were all looking at those properties. It's got shag carpet and wallpaper and It was built in 1964, and it looks like the person who built the house died in the house. Like, it just looks exactly the same, and it needs to do that. I got to scrape popcorn. I got to repaint it. I got to paint the cabinets. I got to put in new flooring. I've got to do that kind of stuff. I call those lipstick fixes. It's all surface level. If it's something I can touch when I walk in the house, I consider it a lipstick fix, right? I can touch the cabinets. Let's paint the cabinets. Lipstick fix, right? We need new countertops. I can touch those. Let's do that. New appliances, things like that. Whenever it's a lipstick flip, I usually figure in $20 a square foot. That's a good starting number, is $20 a square foot. So guys, I figured $20 a square foot, and that kind of covers everything. If I'm clicking through the pictures and I see that there's something wrong with the roof, right? That's not something I could touch. I mean, I could if I got up there, but not when I walk through the house. So a roof would be extra. I would add on to that. Now, how much does a roof cost, guys? Somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000, depending on the house. If the air conditioner looks like absolute shit, somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000, depending on how much I need to do with it. So I add on those big ticket items after I figure this out. And I kind of adjust this number slightly depending on what I see. So let's say I look at the house and I'm like, oh my God, that entire house is painted beautifully, but everything else sucks. I'm probably going to drop that down to about $17 a square foot if I don't think I need to paint. Paint costs me about $3 a square foot. So there's small adjustments that we do in there. That's how I do it. So I start out, if it's a complete rehab and it needs a new roof and a new air conditioner, and I'm going to say, all right, it's $20 a square foot plus $5,000 for the roof plus $5,000 for the AC. So right there, that's how I do the math. If it's 1,000 square foot, that's $20,000 for lipstick, 5 for the AC, 5 for the roof. It's a $30,000 rehab. Okay. The next thing is Jessica kind of uses a little bit of a broader formula whenever she's looking through pictures. She does it based on square foot. Okay. So she says up to 1,000 square foot, she says it's about $25,000, no matter what you do to it. I'm like, you know what? That's actually pretty damn close because there's always something, right? So it's about $25,000 up to 1,000 square foot. Between 1,000 and 2,000 square foot, that slides from 25 to 50. So if you have a 2,000 square foot house, figure 50. If it's 1,100 square foot house, figure like 30. And just keep that number going. So once you hit 2,000, between 2 and 3,000, you're going to be somewhere between 50 and 100. Okay. If you have questions or want somebody to look at it, just shoot me an email and say, Colin, what do you think the rehab number is on this one? The rehab number, guys, is the hardest thing to calculate looking at pictures. It's extremely hard if you've never really done a rehab before, right? The only reason why I'm good at rehab numbers is because I've lost a lot of money rehabbing things. So when it's a very expensive education. So when you lose a lot of money, you start recognizing it's like, wait a minute, this costs more than I thought it did. This costs less than I thought I did. And you kind of figure it out. So it is a bit of an experiment, but the $20 a square foot plus add on bigger ticket items and or just using that sliding scale Jessica uses, you usually get pretty dang close. Most houses aren't going to be over 2,000 square feet or maybe 2,700. You know, very seldomly do you see anything that you're going to flip over 3,000 square feet. I'll be actually sorry. Sorry, I said those numbers wrong. Let me back that up. Up to 1,000 square feet. At 1,000, you should be about 25 grand. Up to 2,000, it should be 50. Up to 3,000, it should be 75. Sorry, I jumped the number on that. Up to 75 grand. And the reason why, guys, is if I got to replace flooring, 3,000 square feet of flooring versus 1,000 square feet of flooring, that's the change, right? Painting 3,000 square feet versus painting 1,000 square feet, that's the change. So I'm going to be sending out an email later today, and going forward, we're going to have more specialized training. So next week, we're going to be doing like, hey, we're really going to look at some houses and we're going to do some numbers. So if you're unfamiliar, like Colin, I don't feel very good at running comps and figuring out what an ARV is. That's where we're going to start. So next week, we're going to start on calculating ARVs, and I'm going to show you how I do it super quick. As you start off doing this, you're going to be slow. It's just part of it. Now I can get an ARV within about 5% in probably a minute or two. I go pretty quick at it now, and I'll show you how I think about it and what we do. Calculating rehab numbers. You're going to have to just look at a handful of properties till you start feeling comfortable with it. We're going to go through some of those. We're going to submit deals. If you have questions about deals that you would like to submit, please come to the training. Say, hey, Colin, I found this one deal. I'm not sure if I should submit it. We'll talk about it during the training, and I will walk you through everything that I see. And the best news about this is David Garza's in here. He's an investor. Matt Spin's in here. He's an investor. Israel's in here. He's been doing this for God knows how long. Guys, we've got a lot of knowledge base in this room, and we're going to help you do this. The reason, one last thing that I want to talk about, and this is a slight brag, and if you've heard me say this before, I apologize. But since we started White Line Realty to date, I think we're a little over 6 years in. I have been either the first, second, or third highest salesperson in the company. I obviously don't give myself trophies or do anything like that because that's kind of tacky. Good job, Colin. Thanks, Colin. It's just tacky. Okay. But the reason why I do so well, guys, is because investors don't buy one house every 7 years. They buy one house every 2 or 3 months. And that I have investor clients that I just keep selling houses to, which makes me more money. And it's way less headache, guys. I don't have to do open houses. I don't have to put signs in the yard. I don't have to go over to their house and pretend to like their dog, like any of that stuff. I don't have to do any of it. I just have to go, hey, here's the numbers. What do you think? By the way, if you're a little bit nervous about that as well, when it comes to all the rehab stuff, Jessica's typically here. She's a general contractor. We go get actual quotes, and everything's going to be overlooked by us. So we're going to make sure that your numbers you submit. So I don't want you to be shy about submitting numbers. And if you have questions, just call or email me. So we're going on a field trip, and we got to be there at 1 o'clock, and it's a 23-minute drive. So that means we got 4 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions before I let y'all go for the day?
I guess one question, I guess if we're sitting stuff in and it's not meeting the criteria, I guess maybe like once a month or however often does it make sense to like, hey, this is why these deals don't work, and we're getting a lot of this coming through.
We're going to try and do it, if not that day, the following day.
Okay.
And if it looks wrong, I'm going to hit somebody, just give me a thumbs down. Oh, mean. Either that day, was it you, Zagla? I'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Me, but it happened to me when I was on a conversation with a client of mine. That thumbs down came up, and I thought we were hacked. So I was just telling Rudy, see, it does it.
Yeah, or somebody doesn't like me. So
that happens on FaceTime too, Colin. So it's not just like, it's just random.
Oh, okay. It was like, bad shirt. I like this shirt. So guys, we'll either do it that day or the next day. If we say, hey, this isn't working for us, because we got to push this out to investors, and we can't bullshit investors. That's what they do. They do numbers, right? So we're gonna vet it for you. If it doesn't look good, then we're gonna kick it back and go, hey, I don't think so. Or would you mind calling the realtor and see if they'd take this number, that kind of stuff. We will give you feedback to help you dial it in. So don't be scared, guys. Like one of the things that just drives me crazy is everybody's so afraid to make a mistake that they never try. And I don't care if you make mistakes, guys, as long as they're with good intention and we're trying to get something done and it doesn't come off as lazy. I'm fine with mistakes. That's great. That's how we learn. But, oh, wait, Daniel put the sheet in the chat. So if y'all want to look at the sheet now, thank you, Daniel. So guys, don't be afraid to do it. Send something in. Let's see it. Because the way, guys, literally every day that we sit in here and do this, we find at least 1 or 2 properties that work. Okay. Once you learn how to do this, if you can find a property a day that we can sell, you make $960 sitting in your underwear looking for properties in the MLS. The other thing, guys, is if you would like to, we're going to be doing a lot more networking. I'm going to be going to as many events as I possibly can. We're going to go meet new investors. We're going to meet new wholesalers. We're going to meet people that are trying to make this whole thing happen. And that way we got to get ourselves more out there. I love my favorite part about White Line is the community that we've created. The people are just amazing. Everybody helps everybody. Everybody's honest. Everybody's helpful. I love that. I want to make sure that everybody knows how great we are. So we've got to get out there and start rubbing elbows. If you're nervous about networking, come with us. If you want to go on a field trip, come with us. It's the only way you're going to learn, guys. Sitting at home, reading books, clicking on stuff in the MLS. If you're trying to learn, it's hard to do that, guys. You can read all the books you want about swimming, but until you get in the water, you're not going to know how to do it. So start looking at properties, submit them. I promise I won't, well, I don't promise I won't make fun of you. I probably will make fun of you, but I will do it privately. I will tease you personally. But I won't just chastise you in front of everybody. So, all right, cool. Any other questions? Melissa, you got on late. Love you. But
I have
we've got
I have a question, Colin.
yeah, what's up, Carla?
So once we find a property and we do all the math and say like we find a good one, like how you explained it, do we just email it to you? Like we
No,
just
no,
send.
no. Do you see that link in the chat?
Yes.
Click on that and there's a form. You're going to put all that data in because that data is going to pull into a formula for us so we can calculate it quicker.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's what you mean, that like how y'all check it first before anything happens?
Right. So we're not, so when it goes through that form, guys, it just ends up in my desk. That's it. Okay. We're going to look at it one more time just to make sure you're not off. And then we turn around and start pushing it out to our investors.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay,
it's-
sounds good.
For those of y'all that do wholesaling, this is very different from wholesaling. Like just because I have this property, I'm not going to send it to my entire 4,000 person database. Okay. It's a waste of time. And we start getting spam emails. And I just get to the point where I'm like, there's certain wholesalers, I just delete the email or unsubscribe because I get 17 emails from them a day. And I'm like, first of all, I don't buy houses in Ohio. Why are you sending me these? Right. It doesn't make any sense. And every investor is a little bit different. So if you send us a property, you're like, hey, this one looks good, Colin. We're going to look at it as well and go, you know what? That's actually a damn good flip, or that's a damn good rental. And we're going to find our our investor people that are renters, and we're going to send it to them that are specifically looking for houses in that price point with that bedroom count, with that exit strategy. So we're really dialing it in to who wants what, and we're going to give them exactly what they want and hopefully save ourselves a lot of time and headache. As I don't like sending out 500 emails a day. It's a waste of time. I'd rather make 2 phone calls and find somebody that wants it. Oh, another baby. That's the hair. That's what I'm talking about. Get Rudy over there.
Are the numbers much different from an investor between a flip and a BRRR or a long-term rental?
Not typically. Not typically. And I'm going to explain that in more detail later. But if you stick to 75%, that tends to work for a BRRR or a flip. It tends to be pretty dang close. And we'll dive into what makes them a little bit different here and there. But typically, if my purchase plus rehab is 75% of the total value, I can usually make that work somewhere in the deal. So for simplicity's sake, that's where we're going to start. Because if you switch over to Airbnb, now all of a sudden there's demographics and all that kind of stuff. If you switch over, like it all kind of changes a little bit, but for the sake of this conversation, 75% is pretty dang good. And if you can get lower, like that's really good. Okay. Like Zagla, I know does a lot of wholesaling. Zagla, where do you try to be at? 60%?
Between 55 to 60% minus
Between
repair.
55 and 60% minus repairs. And she's going to turn around and sell it at 70 to 75% all day long.
Correct.
Right. So, but those are a lot harder to find. Okay. Zagla's on the phone. She's got callers. I mean, that takes a lot more skill. You can find 75% deals in the MLS. I say Zagla's nodding, which means you all can find 75% deals in the MLS. Zagla doesn't want them because she can't assign them. There's no money to be made. But if I'm willing to flip the property, there's money to be made. It's all about finding it at the right time.
Actually, on that note, I wanted to ask a quick question before you have to get off. For the deals that we submit on that form, is there a note section that I can put that they're willing to take a lower amount than what's listed? I get a lot of people send me.
We'll get it added. That's a good idea.
Okay, yeah, because I get a lot of
Excellent.
other realtors that'll send me their deal can't move that's listed. And they'll tell me, you know, the seller's willing to take this much of a discount, but it's obviously listed for more.
Right. And guys, and picking up the phone and making a few phone calls, you'd be surprised what realtors will tell you.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a lot of them that'll breach fiduciary. We don't, and some of them will. So that's it. Any other questions?
Sorry, I thought I could have sworn I heard you say 12:30.
No, 12. But
Okay.
it's okay. Love you. We're going on a field trip. By the way, tomorrow we're having a party. Come party with me. Okay. There's no objective. I'm not going to get on the mic and drone on for hours. I'm not going to make you watch slideshows or give you any kind of CE about whatever. We're literally going to eat nachos and drink. Okay. So come, Daniel liked it. That's what we're going to do tomorrow, 3 to 6 at Miguelitos. It's right here on 410 and like Broadway. So be there, be square.
Oh, that's the networking mixer? I thought that was next week.
No, tomorrow.
Oh, all right.
Get a babysitter, girl. You too, Carla. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Bye, Colin. Thank you.
All right, bye.